It may have taken a few extra days, but the Karl-Anthony Towns trade to New York has now become complete. And New York of course acquired Karl-Anthony Towns and James Nagy, the 31st overall draft pick in 2023, and then sent away Julius Randle, a longtime member of their team, and helped them really get back on top. Along with him, Donte DiVincenzo, a budding young wing player that will now become a much more valuable piece to the Timberwolves, Keita Bates-Diop, and a future first-round draft pick via the Detroit Pistons. And then for the third team that got involved, the Charlotte Hornets, they got Charlie Brown, Daquan Jeffries, Dwayne Washington Jr., 2 future first-round draft picks via New York, and then a 2025 second-round draft pick via Minnesota. And then cash considerations too. And here's where things really got interesting. I mean, to say that New York found a loophole would be putting it lightly. Neither one of Charlie Brown, Daquan Jeffries, or Dwayne Washington Jr. were technically on their team prior to being traded, but they did own the rights to them, and that's how they found the loophole. They may have signed and trade with all 3 of them, but only going $1, yes, $1 above a minimum level contract to make the trade work financially. And while you might be wondering why they had to do that, with the new collective bargaining agreement, a trade that is over the first or second tax apron cannot send multiple minimum contract players to the trade. But with New York needing more salary to complete the trade, they had to find a way to do it. And that's the way that they did it, signing all 3 of Charlie Brown, Daquan Jeffries, and Dwayne Washington Jr. to a new contract $1 above a minimum level contract, and thus sending them away to Charlotte and completing the trade. So definitely really interesting to look into, and really impressive how New York got it done. Big props to Leon Rhodes and the entire Knicks front office for finding that loophole, and thus finding a way to trade for Karl-Anthony Towns. But with that being said, just how good are the New York Knicks after completing that trade? We're going to talk about exactly that. But before we get too far into it, if you want more NBA content, then don't forget to drop a like, hit that subscribe button if you have not already, and turn on notifications so you never miss out when I upload a video. But without further ado, let's dive right into it. And we'll begin by talking about their offense, which in my opinion definitely improved, probably more than anything else of their current team. And that definitely is a big compliment as well. New York ranked 7th in offensive rating last season, the best they have ever ranked under Tom Thibodeau, and a really good ranking no matter what way you look at it. Obviously it had a lot to do with Jalen Brunson having an MVP caliber season, putting up about 29 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, and shooting 40% from 3. So yeah, pretty damn good. But it was definitely not him alone. Julius Randle had an all-star season, who of course they did trade away. Donte DiVincenzo had a breakout year, who they also traded away, but their entire team really broke out offensively and really became a lot more creative under the guidance and overall point of attack leadership from Jalen Brunson. However, I think that they have improved even more. Between the addition of Cat, who obviously is one of the best 3-point shooting big men of all time, a 20+ point per game scorer, and all around a really good offensive player, they of course will be getting a full season from OG Anunoby, and then traded for Mikal Bridges too, who kind of had a breakout season of his own during the past year and a half offensively. And between the 3 of them, that'll lead to much more efficient, all-around offense to their team. I mean, all 3 of Cat, Bridges, and OG Anunoby average at or above 15 points per game last season, and not to mention doing it very efficiently too. Not only last season, but really throughout their entire career. They each have a career true shooting percentage above 58%. And with Cat having one above 62%, so pretty damn good again. And then for 3-point shooting, they will definitely take a big jump here. I think you would be crazy to believe that they will not be taking one. They might have been middle of the pack in 3-point shooting last season, ranking 14th in 3-point percentage and then 13th in 3-point shots attempted per game. Again, right in the middle of the pack, not terrible but not great. But now with them adding 3 guys that have a career 3-point percentage of over 37%, and on over 4 3-point shots attempted per game, that to me would signal 3-point shooting improvement. Starting out with Cat, again one of the best 3-point shooting big men of all time, and has shot 40.4% from 3 on 5.4 attempts per game dating back to 2017. Go try and find me another big man that has done that. And then for Bridges and Anunoby, they're both 37.5 career 3-point shooters on about 4.5 attempts per game. So really good production from them, not only Cat, and definitely good catch and shoot production as well. which will definitely benefit Jalen Brunson and really their entire offense too. I mean, the Knicks now can and likely will run a 5-out offense, really the epitome of the modern day offense, and that's something that they likely will be incorporating. That will give Brunson significantly more room to work with Karl Anthony Towns on the 3-point line either from the wing or corner. That'll take the opposing rim protector away from the rim and thus give Brunson more room to work with, be able to attack the rim more efficiently, and open up more room on the court for backdoor cutters too. And then with all 5 members of their lineup being a scoring threat, and especially 4 of them, that's another layer of their offense too. With Brunson and Cat being 20 plus point per game scoring options, Brunson usually being a 30 point per game guy last season, and Cat having a number of years of over 24 points per game, that's 2 deadly threats within their offense. And then for Bridges and Anunoby, they're definitely scoring threats too. Bridges averaged over 25 points per game following the trade deadline 2 years ago, and Anunoby can definitely average about 20 points per game if you let him, and even in that 3rd, 4th scoring option role, he can put up about 15 points per game, to which Bridges definitely can too. And then for their quote-unquote weak link within their offense, that will be Josh Hart, and he's definitely not a weak link or far from a liability on offense. Maybe not the best overall scoring threat or 3-point shooter, but he definitely is a really good playmaking wing, a smart player overall, and an overall hard worker. Great backdoor cutter, can knock down the occasional 3-point shot, and has no problem playing off the ball pretty much 100% of the time, which will once again work tremendously around Brunson, a full season of OG Anunoby, and now with the additions of Karl Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges. I think it'll work tremendously, and really for their entire team offensively, I would be shocked if they don't crack the top 5 in offensive rating. They already ranked 7th last season with a fairly limited offense in some regards, not being able to play a 5-out offense with Hartenstein and Mitchell Robinson not being 3-point shooting threats, and Randall being below average from a 3-point shooting standpoint. Definitely a good offensive player in general, but they were a bit limited in that regard within their front court. But now with Karl Anthony Towns, that will add and really unlock an entirely different layer of their offense if you ask me, which should definitely be a lot of fun to watch. Moving on to defense though, they might not decline here as much as many think. Maybe not improvement coming their way, but I don't think it should be a big deal. They did finish 9th in defensive rating last season, pretty good but not great. And although yes, Karl Anthony Towns at the 5 is an obvious downgrade compared to Mitchell Robinson, who is currently hurt, or Isaiah Hartenstein, who left their team, it might not hurt them as much as many think. Again, obviously doesn't help that Robinson is currently hurt, being out until around December or maybe January, but Karl Anthony Towns is not an outright liability on defense. Not a great overall rim protector, but it definitely helps when he has good wing defenders around him and good defenders at the point of attack, to which they definitely do. Between OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, and Josh Hart, and even Deuce McBride coming off the bench, they have plenty of perimeter defense, and that should definitely help Karl Anthony Towns a lot. You know, not a great rim protector, but not a complete liability either. On his career, he has a plus 0.2 defensive box plus minus rating, being right around average, not good but not great. And in my opinion, he is actually less of a liability on defense, if you would want to call him that, playing at center compared to power forward. You know, he's simply not quick enough side to side or laterally to defend forwards, whether it be power forwards or small forwards. In the modern NBA, a majority of them are quicker and more versatile players which he cannot really keep up with nor defend. In my opinion, center is a better matchup for him. You know, he can't really defend the elite centers, you can't depend on him to do that, but it's better to kind of hide him on defense and put him on a player that he can at least keep up with from a mobility and overall speed standpoint. And then for rim protection, if you point to when he did play at center full time from 2015 to 2022, he did average about 1.4 blocks per game and did rank as around an average defender overall. So again, you can't call him a complete liability, and then with other guys making up for him, I don't think it will be a big problem. Again, definitely not an upgrade over Mitchell Robinson or Isaiah Hartenstein, but not an entirely big problem and not nearly as big one compared to what many people are making it out to be. In my opinion, the really big loss to them was again Isaiah Hartenstein and then Donte DiVincenzo too. They traded Donte DiVincenzo as part of the Karl Anthony Towns trade, and they will now be without him, whether it be in their starting lineup or coming off their bench. And he was a really good wing defender for them. Combining him with a Deuce McBride off the bench, and before they traded him, probably Josh Hart as well, that would have been a really good combination coming off their bench. And now they're kind of only left with Deuce McBride coming off their bench as a point of attack defender. He definitely is one, but they don't really have a lot of firepower coming off their bench defensively. Precious Achiuwa is a solid defender, decent rim protector, not an overall tremendous defender. Jericho Sims can be okay, and that's kind of within their front court. But after that, they're kind of relying on a combination of Cameron Payne, who is a below average defender, and then 2 rookies who have not really been proven defensively. So in my opinion, probably around the same on defense, if not downgraded a little bit, but not nearly as much as many think. In my opinion, I think they'll be completely fine on defense. Apart from offense and defense though, we cannot forget about rebounding. And here's where they actually did decline in my opinion. I mean, for one, losing Isaiah Hartenstein was a big loss to their team. He grabbed about nearly 12 rebounds and about 5 offensive rebounds per 36-minute average for their team last season. Really good offensive rebounder and kept many possessions alive for their team. And then for Julius Randle, he grabbed 9.9 rebounds per game, basically 10 of them per game, with their team from 2019 to 2024. The definition of a tenacious offensive rebounder and overall rebounder for a power forward, and they definitely will miss him on the glass. And then again, while they do have Mitchell Robinson on their team, he's not available and likely won't be until around the beginning of 2025. And with him grabbing about 12 rebounds per game per 36-minute average too, that's another big loss to their team. Luckily for them though, Karl-Anthony Towns is not a bad rebounder. He may have grabbed only about 9 of them per game while playing at power forward during the past 2 years, but he did grab about 11.3 of them per game from 2015 to 2022, and that's per regular game average. That's when he played about 99% of his time at center, and he definitely will be doing that again this season, or again at least until Mitchell Robinson gets healthy. So maybe not a huge drop off rebounding from that standpoint, but from an overall team standpoint, without Randle, without Hartenstein, and temporarily without Mitchell Robinson, they will decline on rebounding. Overall though, I think they took a gigantic leap offensively. I mean, they could become practically unguardable at times with their 5-out offense that they would likely incorporate, improve 3-point shooting, more scoring threats, and all around more versatile offense in general. I love that for their team, and they'll definitely be very tough to defend. And then on defense, I think they remained right around the same, if not maybe improved a little bit, especially at the point of attack and on the wing. Better wing defense in my opinion, you really can't argue against that with a full season of OG Anunoby, who made second team all defense back in 2023. The addition of Mikal Bridges, who finished second in Defensive Player of the Year voting back in 2022 and made first team all defense that season. And then with an all-around pretty good team defense, which will be even better when and if Mitchell Robinson gets healthy, I think they'll be completely fine. But then again, they did decline on rebounding, and that's the one thing that you definitely can point to where they did decline as a team. Overall though, I think they got better. But with that being said, what do you guys think? How do you feel about the new look New York Knicks after trading for Karl-Anthony Towns? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But I think that'll pretty much do it for this one, and if you enjoyed the video, then don't forget to drop a like, hit that subscribe button if you have not already, and turn on notifications so you never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day.